First, we're going to delve into Shamima Begum. She lost her appeal against the decision to remove her British citizenship, which, of course, was revoked after she travelled to Syria and joined Islamic State back in 2015, aged just 15. Kelly, her lawyers are going to appeal again, but should she be allowed to appeal again over this?
I think she should be allowed to appeal again, because I just think, we've got criminals that have done all kinds of things. She's not convicted of a crime as such at this point. I think that's valid to say at this point. And I think that she should be allowed to be brought back to the UK, where because at the moment she's in a captive kind of camp where she's interviewed. We've seen the interviews, I've watched the documentary, but she's not actually allowed to say what she may want to say, because she has to then leave that interview and go back and live with these people who maybe, agree with the ISIS views and regime. So she has to be quite guarded about what she says and doesn't say. It doesn't mean that I've got zero empathy or I'm not thinking about the families that have, lost their lives, like the children at the Manchester bombings and things like that. But I also think that we're spending so much money in terms of legal aid, which I didn't understand myself, but we're actually paying as a country for her to have legal aid to be able to represent herself. So she's not going to give up, defending herself and appealing. So why not draw a line under it, bring her back to the UK, judge her under a UK jurisdiction, and without the fear of her being worried about going back to live where she is, and being able to speak freely and then be judged based on the facts and then make a final decision.
But the reality is, though, Jude, isn't it, is they have said that it's for the public good for this to happen, because it will make the UK safer. That's the reason why. Those are parts of the reasons why her citizenship has been revoked, because the reality is she went to join Islamic State.
I think something what Kelly was saying earlier in regards to, there's so much people in the UK that have committed serious crimes and posed threat to the public, and they are contained and managed and disciplined. So what is the difference when it comes to Shamima Begum? I do wonder, as time goes on, is it a thing where she is now being seen as the example of what will happen if you get yourself involved in this time a terrorist group? Everyone's going to have opinions, and as time goes on, there's different things that come up. We talk about the money and 5 million taxpayers. All those kind of language adds to people's emotions, personal experience, and what they've seen through media that actually makes them feel like, no, we don't want her back. We don't want her to have the way that it's supposed to do by law, which is her to come back to her country and be trialled. It's still a very difficult and sad case, and the fact that she still has to go back to that same area where she herself, like you said, might be a poster threat, would make a difference on what she's going to say.
But I think a lot of people, when they've listened to the podcast and watched the documentary, they sort of said that they felt as though there wasn't enough remorse from Shamima, and so they felt that was part of the reason why she deserved to not come back here, and that's a view that you share, isn't it, Bea?
Yeah, I do agree with that. And, you could say that somebody else shows remorse different than the next person, and I get that, and I understand and appreciate she's not been convicted of anything. But for me, it's like prevention sometimes is better than cure, and I don't know, like quite a lot of people, I would assume, if she's actually saying what she's saying to just get herself back here, saying what we want to hear, rather than actually believing and convincing us that she actually believes that what she did is wrong, and I'm sorry, and mean it. I just need to see that, just like I think a lot of other people, and
Well, her lawyers have said that they are going to appeal again. So this is a conversation that we won't have had for the last time. I feel like this is one we're going to continue to have time and time again as the years pass.